Also devastating to current Loudoun County Mayor Buddy Bradshaw, talking to us about the extent of damage.
Sounds like these, and days like this, the smile on his daughter's face. It's why Michael Stenson moved to the Holston Hills neighborhood.
They lived 2 blocks from the fire and watched all day as the sky turned black. More evacuations added to night after 6.
And I was nervous, but I'm fine. I want to see these boys, do this for Tanner.
Those motions included lots of trips to the hospital, clinics, and watching their sweet little girl struggle with the side effects of chemotherapy.
He finds over 40 hours a week for his ribs, wings, and a whole lot of hickory smoke.
Just to give you some perspective, their house used to sit right here, shifting and flipping about 300 feet here behind us. Those screen doors that you're looking at right now, they used to face a different direction, facing this way toward the road. The Suttles were luckily at the movies when storms rolled through. They're thankful they weren't inside.
No trip to Columbus complete without a stop at the Horseshoe. Ohio Stadium, originally built in 1922, home of the Buckeyes and the 3rd largest college football arena in America. It's quiet right now, but you can imagine during football season, the rotunda is rocking. These days, Ohio all about hoops.
And it is still very much an active scene here tonight. I want to give you a look at that scene here. You can see smoke still rising from the roof of the building here. Also, the roof to the left of the building. Within the last 30 minutes, we did watch that section there partially collapse. Now, firefighters here on scene from several neighboring departments continuing to battle the blaze.
They'll be keeping an eye on all of this water in our area, but they think you should be aware of it as well.
Crime scene tape still surrounding this Coach store tonight.
Doesn't matter how you advance because it survived and advanced in March, and Tennessee able to get to the round of 32 for a 2nd straight year, but not without their fair share of scares.
4-touchdown performance, leading Team White to an 18-point win. Jeremy Pruitt said after the game he's been impressed with the redshirt junior throughout the spring as he's working with his 4th coordinator in 4 years.
Called him the next day. He called me like, hey, bro, I got to get better.
On Sunday, Bone and the Vols finally get their shot at redemption, a chance to reach the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2014. Ineffectiveness in that second half opted to bench himself for the final minutes of the game and overtime in favor of Kyle Alexander. He said it wasn't a tough decision at all. That decision helped Tennessee get the win.
Vol fans are going home energized and excited tonight.
We just sort of carpool by singing Rocky Top. There's Tennessee flags. There's a ton of orange in the plaza, and why not? It's such a quick trip.
Yeah, they most definitely are, Marshall. And you just mentioned what happened here all those years ago. Tennessee #1 for a matter of 24 hours, and right back at the scene of the crime here tonight where Vandy knocked them off all those years ago. At Memorial Gym, you can see Tennessee on the floor practicing behind me. Memorial Gym is actually known as one of the more unique college basketball venues. The college team benches are actually on the baseline as opposed to the traditional courtside seating. So we figured we'd take you around the gym and we'd get you set for tonight's game in 1 through 5 fashion. So let's start with 1. That's an easy one, of course. Tennessee basketball, #1. Again, it's only their 3rd game ever being played as the #1 ranked team in the nation. They are 1-1. That one loss, of course, happening here in 2008. Tennessee aiming to avoid a repeat of history tonight. #2, that's the amount of teams that Rick Barnes has coached to a #1 ranking. He did it with Texas in 2010 as well. Rick Barnes becoming just the 6th coach in college basketball history to lead 2 separate programs to the top spot. 3 as in stars, as in the entirety of Tennessee's basketball team is mostly made up of unheralded 3 stars. The top 6 scorers on their team this year, all 3-star recruits coming out of high school. But as Rick Barnes says, it's not the stars that matter.
And I think the one word that separates it all is passion. I think that most everyone we recruit, we feel have physical ability, and we hope mentally they understand it. But the fact of the matter is it gets down to their commitment.
4 is for wins. Tennessee's taken 4 of their last 5 against Vanderbilt. 5 is for where these teams sit in the standings right now. Tennessee 5-0 in the SEC. Vanderbilt 0-5.
Sounds like these, and days like this, the smile on his daughter's face. It's why Michael Stenson moved to the Holston Hills neighborhood.
It's a beautiful community. I mean, it's quiet, it's calm. My neighbors are great people. And this is the kind of place that I see myself having a family, settling down, making memories.
He fears RECODE threatens it all. It allows any homeowner with enough yard space to build an accessory dwelling unit, basically an extra 1 to 2 bedroom home on their lot. There are off-street parking rules and the owner has to live on the property. Stinson still thinks they should be allowed case by case, not for every lot.
What if it's a husband and wife that's living there while they're trying to get their feet back on the ground? You're going to double the density of this region, of this neighborhood.
Planning Director Gerald Green saying RECODE protects existing neighborhoods and does not radically change what can be built in them.
Every community wants progress, no community wants change, and Knoxville more so than most.
When Knox County grows, Knoxville grows. Data from the Boyd Center showing for every 10 people who move to the county, 3 of them move to the city. Knox County is expected to grow by nearly 5,000 people by the end of this year. That's 1,500 people coming to Knoxville. That same math showing Knoxville will pick up 24,000 people by 2040 and 45,000 more people by 2060. Where do we put all those people? Where do you put all those cars? Some city leaders believe RECODE is the answer. The proposed zoning overhaul changes what builders can put along some of Knoxville's major roads. RECODE opening up what can be built along places like Broadway, Magnolia, and Chapman Highway. Today, they're mostly commercial with a lot of parking. RECODE would allow developers to build commercial or residential or both. They could build closer to the road. Certain new design standards coming with RECODE. It allows a business or home, though, not compliant with new zoning rules to be grandfathered in. Danny Kirby is a broker and says many business owners are worried about RECODE.
We ask, what's the hurry? This zoning ordinance has been in place for 50 years. It's produced a wonderful city that most would say is one of the best cities in the whole Southeast, if not America. And it was all done under the current zoning ordinance.
The latest draft coming available just a couple weeks ago. Kirby doesn't believe city leaders have had enough time to consider every impact of RECODE. Like the impact on drivers. RECODE cutting 10% of required parking along some major roads and 30% for lots near a bus stop.
There's a lot of cities that don't have as much required parking as we have had in the past, and they get by and everything. It may impact your behaviors and where you go. Or you choose to ride your bike, or you walk, or you take a bus, or you take an Uber. I mean, you change how you get there.
Councilwoman Lauren Ryder believes in some of RECODE, but wants more time before voting.
Yeah, and that property will become more valuable as they're redeveloped.
To Green, the choice is simple.
And do we want that national reputation that we look to the future? We're so scared of change that we go back to the mid-20th century.
Lee Hume doesn't mind looking to the future along our main corridors. Right now, his neighborhood is zoned to only allow single-family homes. They're going to an RN1 under RECODE, which allows duplexes under special approval.
We've got a strong community. We believe in it. People are attracted to West Hills because of the way it is, and they buy into it, and houses sell quickly here because people want to move here. And all we want to do is we want to maintain what we have.
Now, you should be looking right now at a picture that I tweeted earlier this afternoon of the mayor holding an American flag retrieved from the courthouse, telling us it was important to make sure that that flag didn't catch fire. Tonight, I also do want to point out that many of the roads around downtown Loudoun County are closed off. The sheriff's office asking drivers to avoid this area. Live in Loudoun County, I'm Elizabeth Kubel, WATE 6 on your side.
Is said to be a total loss.
We're told crews responded to the scene around 6:30 last night, staying for several hours. We sent 6 on your side reporter Elizabeth Kubel to the scene, speaking with fire crews and city leaders about this terrible loss.
Still very much an active scene Tuesday night. Countless firefighters from neighboring departments continuing to battle a fire that broke out at the historic Loudoun County Courthouse. They've been on scene for hours now, since about 6:30 we're told, working to put out flames that were visible on the roof and clock tower. Also on scene, crowds of onlookers watching this unfold.
It's a part of Loudoun. When I was sitting there watching the flames go, it's like Loudoun's... My heart's breaking. Yeah.
This is a small town, so everywhere I go, we all see each other, we all know each other, so we're like trying to figure out like what happened. We're just so confused and worried.
It's just such a sad, sad day for me today. My heart breaks for all of Loudoun County, the citizens, because this was such a staple in our community.
Also devastating to current Loudoun County Mayor Buddy Bradshaw, talking to us about the extent of damage.
Well, I've talked to a few of the firemen that have been inside, and right now it's almost looking like it's going to be a total loss, and that's heartbreaking. I've been on the phone with our insurance agent out of Nashville, and so they've been great. All right, so whatever we choose to do, and I think my initial reaction is going to be we're going to try and save our courthouse. This is a lot of history in this building, and so hopefully we're going to be able to save it and make it as good as new.
Walk us through, too, for the people that aren't out here, walk us through what the scene, what the atmosphere is feeling and looking like out here.
Well, like I said, as soon as I got on scene, I know there was at least 2 fire departments here, and since then it's escalated to at least 6, maybe 7. And so it just, you hear people talking and they recognize, most of the folks here that are here looking are local. They recognize the history and understand the history and above all else appreciate the history for this courthouse. And it's just, there'll be some broken hearts tonight.
The mayor holding an American flag retrieved from the courthouse, telling us it was important to make sure that flag didn't catch fire. Also want to point out Tuesday night, many of the roads here in downtown Loudoun County are closed off. The sheriff's office asking drivers to avoid this area. For Good Morning Tennessee, I'm Elizabeth Kubel, WATE 6 on your side. A sight that is hard to believe. Friday night storms wreaking havoc on this Campbell County home.
We've lived here over 20 years, and never nothing like this. I mean, just lost everything we had.
This couple's house carried off its foundation Friday night. The damage, visible and extensive.
We had an 07 Ford Mustang destroyed, side-by-side destroyed, boat destroyed. I had a work truck with, all my tools and stuff on it destroyed, Cadillac destroyed.
When I pulled in and seen it, I broke down. I mean, there ain't nothing you can say. I mean, you're so much in shock.
Just to give you some perspective, their house used to sit right here, shifting and flipping about 300 feet here behind us. Those screen doors that you're looking at right now, they used to face a different direction, facing this way toward the road. The Suttles were luckily at the movies when storms rolled through. They're thankful they weren't inside.
I mean, I believe it was the Lord, because if we'd have been here, one of us or maybe both of us would have died.
And now they're trying to figure out what comes next, telling us their home is unlivable.
We're going to try to stay here, till we can watch our stuff, till we can get it all out. And then I guess try to find somewhere to stay, try to find somewhere to move, because there's no repairing that.
I mean, we just have to get the pieces back up and put them back together, that's all we can do.
Reporting in Campbell County, Elizabeth Kubel, WATE 6 on your side.